Hey Chief, are you ready for your close-up?
That's weird. I don't remember being scheduled.
Well, change of plans. Besides, I just want to take a quick picture. Just stand right over there while I get the shot, okay?
What are you up to, little one? I don't have time for this.
Oh, come on, Nemesis. I know I saw it.
You're starting to worry me, Vortex. What's the problem?
Problem? Well, I saw something weird in the photo. It had like 4 arms and a big single eye. I don't even know what it was.
Did it look something like this?
That's exactly what I saw. Who are you? What have you done with Chief?
What do you mean? I am Chief. I am Blackout, technically speaking. Is that so?
Chief?
Can you believe it? Brawl said that I won an eating contest last night. I wasn't even home.
Oh, Chief, am I glad to see you. But wait, if you're standing over there, then who's...
Please tell me that's not stunt double. Looks like the game is over. I was hoping I would slip out without being noticed.
Finally having 4 arms again. What the?
Don't tell me. A prime that can shapeshift?
Amalgamous Prime, to be exact. A pleasure to meet you, and a pleasure to be you.
Hello everyone, welcome back. It is Khan. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm the fabulous leader of the Decepti-KHAN army, and today we have found a prime, and indeed he was impersonating Blackout this entire time. Maybe he was only impersonating him the entire time, I don't know, but it's very cryptic, alright? It was very cryptic that he was impersonating Blackout. So yeah, it's the shapeshifter himself, Amalgamous Prime. So I'm currently on the quest right now of finding the 13 primes. So we have 4 out of 13 primes collected. So if you guys want to follow along the story, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to follow along with the storyline. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into Amalgamous Prime. Okay guys, here's Amalgamous Prime, and we're going to go ahead and get started with his articulation, and I'm going to start with the head. So his head can move around a little bit left and right, but in order to get the most of his head rotation, you do actually have to rotate his neck. So you can rotate his neck like clockwise or counterclockwise. Just be kind of careful though that if you do happen to do this, his head does have a tendency to pop off. Even just the slightest nudge of just rotating his head does kind of make his head come off. His arms rotate at the shoulders. His arms can move side to side at the shoulders. His arms can bend. His arms can twist. He's capable of doing somewhat of a T-pose. His hands can rotate and they can also bend. He does have waist rotation. His legs can go forwards as well as backwards, which means yes, Amalgamous Prime can actually do the splits. It looks a little weird, but he is capable of doing the splits. He has slight knee bend, but he also has a little bit of bend at around the shin, so he kind of has 2 areas where you can bend on the leg. His legs can rotate, as well as the occasional leg popping off. His foot doesn't bend and it doesn't have any foot rotation, but he does have ankle tilt. And yeah, that kind of covers the basics with Amalgamous Prime. I'm kind of curious how he's going to perform in the photo shoot. So let's see if Amalgamous Prime can become a supermodel in the photo shoot.
Well now, what do you think?
Now I see why you rely on shapeshifting. You're really bad in your own form.
Oh, come on, Chief. I don't think it wasn't that bad.
Hey, are you going to side with the primes or something? That thing impersonated me.
And I can impersonate many more if you like. In fact, I could become an Autobot. I could be a Decepticon. I could even become...
Your worst nightmare.
Please don't. Go back to being normal.
If you say so, Chief.
Oh, creepy.
So Amalgamous comes with a couple of different accessories. I'm going to start off with his main weapon, which is his scythe. So his scythe is kind of broken down into 3 pieces. So I'm going to start off with this gray piece. Now, when I first saw it, I thought it was a gun, but it actually goes at the bottom of the, I guess you could say it kind of goes at the bottom of the blade here. So this is where you attach it. Then he also has this orange piece, which goes at the bottom of his scythe. And pretty much to have the scythe, you just rotate the blade forward like this. And yeah, and then basically he is ready to go. So the nice thing is that you can slot this in one of his hands, but he can also wield it in both hands. And if you like, you can also equip it in the back hands as well too. So it's really awesome. You can actually place the scythe pretty much anywhere that you want. You actually can put the scythe blade down in its original position and then have it wield it like a spear or as a rod. So you kind of have a few different ways you can actually play around with this scythe. So yeah, I kind of like that you can actually make the scythe into like a staff or a spear for him to wield. And again, you don't really have to kind of have the scythe blade out, but it's just kind of like an alternate mode that the scythe kind of has if you want to kind of play around with it. Up next, he has these 2 shoulder pieces. There's a bit of some light piping coming through it, so it actually looks really pretty when you hold it under the light. They do also have an additional role later in the video, so I will talk a little more about what these things can do. But for now, they could basically just be equipped onto him on his robot mode, just like this. And finally, the last accessory that he has is actually hidden inside his head. So if you actually remove his head, you can actually open it up to reveal this mysterious thing that's hiding behind his face, basically. So what's attached to his head is actually his artifact, which is, I believe it's called the T-Cog. It basically kind of looks like an eyeball. You're literally taking his eyeball out of his head, and then you have like this little artifact, which does kind of look like an eyeball. Again, you're literally taking his eye out just to kind of reveal like this eyeball shaped looking relic. But this relic can actually be slotted on any one of his hands if you would like. And I do also kind of like that it does have his little, insignia on it. So at least you know it's one of the 13 artifacts. I did see if I could equip some weapons on Amalgamous Prime, starting with these swords. So here are the swords from Black Dragon, and I was feeling a little optimistic that maybe he could hold these, but unfortunately they don't fit very well. His hands are not really designed in a way that lets you kind of hold things very easily because of how much of a gap there is in his hands. So it looks like you won't be able to equip these swords because they're a little too thin on his hands. Next up, I had Barricade's guns, and interestingly, he was able to equip Barricade's guns. So at least if I really wanted to, I can put the scythe in one hand and then put his guns in the other hand. So it's really interesting that he can actually hold these, and then he's pretty much unstoppable, right? He definitely looks like a warrior with all these weapons equipped. And lastly, I did see if he could equip Novocaine and Freezer, and interestingly, he actually can equip them. Yeah, you can put him on the back arms, you can put him on the front arms, and then you could give him the other weapons. So this is what he would look like if you gave him both Novocaine, Freezer, and Barricade's guns. I mean, who needs the scythe, right? Okay, guys, you know what time it is? It is time to transform this guy. So here are the instructions. So later in the video, there is actually something interesting about Amalgamous, and it's pretty much the fact that he has alternate, I don't know if I would call them transformations, but he does actually have some really interesting, unique transformations using his arms, his legs, and his shoulder pads. I do want to get through his main transformation that he has. So here is my transformation attempt on Amalgamous Prime. All right, here's Amalgamous Prime transformed, and he looks kind of weird. I don't know. He doesn't really look like a vehicle. He kind of looks a little bit more like an animal, I guess. I mean, this is supposed to be his alt mode. I guess you could say it's sort of like a beast mode, vehicle mode, I guess. It's really kind of bizarre. I really don't know what would you call it. I definitely kind of had some issues transforming him because his limbs kept falling off a lot. It was very constant. If it wasn't the head, it'd be the legs, or it'd be one of his arms. He really kind of feels like a zombie, just the fact that his pieces just kept falling off so many times. And trust me, it's gonna be pretty often that's gonna happen. But there's just a few things I want to say about his transformation that I kind of had some issues. Particularly, again, the major issue is that his limbs kept falling off. I probably have said this so many times, but his limbs have kept falling off a lot. So I don't know if it's just easier to transform him if you take the arms and legs off and then just transform him. I don't know, but that was kind of the main problem that I had with him, is just dealing with the constant parts falling off. And then the second part is actually something that's kind of more or less my fault, but he has this front part, like this like hood part on the front of his like neck. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to like rotate, or you're supposed to like move the neck piece all the way down. But because I didn't move it all the way down, I was wondering like why it was getting stuck. And because I pulled on this really, really hard, it actually came off. So unfortunately, I kind of broke him when I was trying to transform him, because I was wondering like why this part wasn't opening. And I guess it was my fault that I did not move his neck all the way down. So, you know, already the fact that I broke this off, it was already like a bad sign that the transformation was going to be a bit of a mess. So now that I got Amalgamous Prime transformed, what would I give the difficulty on this guy? Kind of tough, because I kind of feel like if you took off the limbs and then transform, it'd be a lot easier. But if you were trying to transform this without a single one of his limbs, like his head, his arms, and that stuff, without falling off, I think you'd be in for a challenge. So I think overall, I'd give him like a 5 to 6 on difficulty. I don't think he wasn't too hard, but I just really kind of hate the fact that his limbs just kept falling off so many times. Like, if it's not the head, it's going to be the arms that's going to fall off very, very constantly. So, but anyways, that kind of takes care of my transformation attempt on Amalgamous Prime. So as I stated earlier, Amalgamous Prime does have some additional transformations, and these transformations are actually involving his arms and his shoulder pads. So his little shoulder pads actually kind of function like little mini heads, basically. They could almost be like little mini eyeballs. And you basically just attach like either the two arms together, or you can attach the arms with the shoulder pad together to create like these little minions. That's why I call them. They're kind of like his little minions. And if you really wanted to, you actually can put the scythe in the hands. So now you actually have like a little mini Grim Reaper if you really wanted to. This is honestly the best part about him. I really love the fact that you can create like these little transformations out of his limbs. And of course, you know, like there's a couple of different combinations. I even had one combination that I put together using his head. It's not in the instructions, but again, you can actually kind of like mix match his pieces however you like. Yeah, like it's really interesting that he can actually, you know, create little mini vehicle forms just like this. Yeah, I mean, like, he's a very interesting figure, right? Like, I think Amalgamous is fun to some extent to play around with, but there's definitely a couple things that I can address. But I do want to get the big thing out of the way, though. The big thing that I do like about Amalgamous, and that is the fact that you can take his arms, his leg, and the shoulder pads, and if you really want to, you can also take his head off, too, and you can combine them into creating different forms, like these little mini vehicles. I like to call them minions. They kind of look like it could be his little minions. It's definitely kind of a step up from my Cronus, because at least with my Cronus, you can take him apart and then create the bike. But with this guy, like, you can combine his limbs to create all sorts of really wacky stuff with him. Really crazy stuff, right? So I will say that that's the best part about him, right? But now, you know, that kind of ends all my positives, basically, because we need to talk about this, all right? We need to talk about the fact that his parts just keep coming off a lot. I'm gonna tell you, it's very, very common. You're gonna find that his parts will come off very easily. And again, I easily took off his head by just slightly touching him, all right? Slightly touching the head, and this thing easily came off. Like, I wish that there was a little bit more stability of making sure that they don't pop off so easily, because I think that's the biggest thing that I don't like about him. Like how easy it is for me to take it off. Like you can't really go very far without like moving him before like this thing pops off, right? And it's a very, very common problem. I know some people might not think that's too much of a big deal, especially because you can combine his pieces. But when you're trying to like pose him, or you're playing around with him, and even the worst part is when you're trying to transform him, like, girl, like, these parts come off very, very often, like way too much. Like, honestly, if you're going to try to transform him, you should probably transform him by taking off all his limbs first. Like, yeah, you have to like really dissect him, really take off like his legs and arms, and then you can go ahead and transform him and then put his parts back on. He's like literal Frankenstein. Like, I don't know how else to kind of put it, but I kind of get the impression he feels like he's like broken or something. And I'm sure other people would feel like, if they played around with this guy for a little bit, it's like, oh no, like I broke him or something, right? Like, that's the impression that I get with him. Do I recommend Amalgamous Prime? I mean, if you're collecting the primes, I would give it a try, but as a standalone guy, I wouldn't really get him. Like, if you're someone who gets a little concerned about like pieces falling off and that stuff, that's probably the biggest turnoff. It's probably going to be the deal breaker, basically. Because I'm going to tell you, from my experience playing around with this guy, his arms, head, and his legs come off very easily. Like, even just like the slightest twist will knock it off. And I don't even think it was really even that fun posing either because of the constant, parts falling off. But again, if you're thinking about collecting the primes, I would give them a try. But, just kind of buyer beware that a lot of pieces, they're very delicate. So you got to really play really nicely with him, because otherwise you're gonna have some issues with him. Alright guys, that wraps up my review on Amalgamous Prime. So I don't know how we're gonna make Amalgamous wave goodbye here, but I'm just gonna go ahead and try to roll the clip of him waving goodbye. So let's go ahead and say goodbye to everyone on camera here, Amalgamous. If you guys like this review, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I shall see you guys on the next review, alright? So have a good night, you guys.
Genghis Khan, I hear you're recruiting soldiers. Perhaps I can lend you a hand or two.
Thanks, but no thanks. We don't need someone like you disguising as others.
But that's where you're mistaken, Blackout. You really underestimate our powers. I'm sure my services can help you on your quest.
And what exactly can you do?
Before I lend you my power, I have a simple favor to ask.
And what might that be?
Seeing that you're recruiting lost toys, I have someone in mind that can join your cause. Please have a look at him. I see a little bit of myself in him, but regardless, he could use the exposure.
Skullgrin. I've never heard of this guy before.
Careful, Ning. This could be a trap.
The favor is simple. All you have to do is play with him. Should you accept him, I shall grant you a portion of my power. I guess you could say he could be your first applicant to join your modeling agency. Now then, will you make him into a superstar? I promise you won't be disappointed.